Hello and welcome to Black Dragon Roleplay, where we are not professional voice actors. We're not gaming gods, we're just a group of friends that have been brought together through the love of story who want to share our tabletop adventures with all of you. A few things before we start our session proper. We are so glad that you are watching us here live on Twitch. We appreciate all the support you have here. If you are new here, want to keep up with the campaign, drop us a follow. If you'd like to support us, then there is a subscribe button. Drop your Prime, sub for some emotes, support the stream. We greatly appreciate everyone who does so. We have a YouTube, we have social medias, we have Discord, we have our personal links. All of this and more can be found in the info boxes below. We play D&D, but we also play video games on this channel and do other things. Join us this Tuesday for Thumper and the Moose, aka Tuesday nights, where we play through Xbox Game Pass, game by game, in hopes that someone from Microsoft stumbles upon our stream and buys us for $67 billion. We've been playing Stellaris, space colonization game, domination game, with us and Thumper and Brandman, and it's been a lot of fun. Hasn't it, Dante? You don't have your game open right now, do you?
No.
Somebody watched his Steam.
Complete.
No.
Somebody watch his Steam. Make sure his name doesn't show up. We are 39 episodes into this campaign, so if you have missed anything or would like to watch the show from the beginning, please take a look at our YouTube page. Every previous session is eventually posted up there within a week or two. Please join us on YouTube. Click that like button, click the subscribe button, and don't forget to feed the dragon.
Quickly, feed it!
Never gets old.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's only been 2 weeks.
I was going to say, this is the
recap.
second time.
I'll be hopeful.
Recap, episode 38, A Window to the Past. A quick flare-up of tempers gets the better of Camiel and Amivi. Dante stands up and tells both of them to stop it. Stop it. Enough of the bickering, and Amivi should make an effort to be part of the group, and Camiel should help in that rather than reply sarcastically to responses. The shock of Dante's scolding shocked both parties and evolved into an authentic time of sharing and bonding. Later in the day, Emmy takes a look at some of her points of interest of her past through the orb. She visits her former home, where her mother and father still lived after she moved away. That interesting enough looks untouched in the year plus since her father passed away and the many years since she had last visited. Moving to a second location just outside of town, a series of buildings where Emmy spent her adolescence learning magic is leveled, the buildings looking purposefully destructive. Branimir decides he would also like to make use of the orb and uses it to check out Patreon, starting with an old farm, one that he last saw burned in ashes, now fully rebuilt with new owners. Moving to the back of the farm under an ancient olive tree, the grave markers that cause Bran a moment of panic cause him to instantly release the orb. After Camiel comforts him, she tries the orb, wanting to catch a glimpse of her former home in Ujat, a nest full of trinkets and tokens collected from all around the forest. After finding the glade of the forest where she remembers, she is unable to find any trace of her nest or her belongings, but Eagle-Eyed Bran did see a carving on the tree that Camiel had made, proving that it was the correct location. After trying again to find a piece of his homeland, but failing to locate the exact locale, Bran turns to a more strategic target, crossing Patrium and looking towards Aura. The closer he gets to Aura, the more the sickening darkness intrudes on him. And when they finally arrive, they see a large monolithic spire-like building that was seemingly ripped from its foundation and is now floating in the center of Aura. Bran gets closer. The orb stops responding, seemingly frozen in space, unable to move under Bran's control. Slowly, the orb turns, and in front of you, you see, the same proportion as you saw everything else, this 100-foot tall in this observatory, the Shadow Queen, her green glowing eyes piercing into you. Super high definition, as she is seemingly in the room with you, but stops, says, "Tisk tisk, not before we're ready to begin." What are you guys doing?
Shooting bricks.
We believe that
just
everyone. The very last thing was Saoirse had run into the room just enough to see the Shadow Queen turn the ball and expose herself, basically, to all of you. What are you guys doing in this moment?
Staring stunned at the that aura floating in the sky.
Yeah, there's some like weird green, like something coming out of the orb or coming from her.
Her eyes are glowing green. There's kind of like this black energy around her. And you see kind of almost like these green tentacles of energy spread between her fingers and then kind of wrapped around, almost looks like spider webs that kind of wrap around what this would be almost like the camera angle or the position of the shift or this scry ball that would actually be present. This invisible scry ball, it's kind of wrapped up in these electrical green energy coming from her fingertips that she's causing it to. She's controlling it now with her own energy.
Can Emmy cast Dispel Magic on her scrying?
You can certainly try. What? Give me. Actually, let me look up Dispel Magic.
You want me to pop it into what you call it?
Alright, I got it.
Okay. Oops. Clicked it.
Okay, so the range of Dispel Magic is 120 feet. So you know, with your passive intellect, that most likely you will not be affecting the ball. You would be trying to dispel whatever energy is connecting this machine, or dispelling this machine and the orb that it is controlling at the time.
Oh, so I can't. Yeah, so it would be
Because you're not within
messing up
reach.
our.
Yeah, you're not within reach of the orb itself, because that is literally thousands of miles away.
Right.
Brandon's going to ready his Warhammer to strike, if need be.
Is she attacking us or anything, or she's just looking back at us?
You can tell. Actually, everybody make a perception check.
Ooh boy.
Perception.
Perception.
Roll of the night. That's persuasion. This is perception.
Hey. That's pretty neat.
Oof.
Ooh. Ooh.
Ooh, cameo.
Looky.
Ooh.
Oh, we know each other very well.
Hmm. So I will say, yeah. Camille, as you look up at this figure and look at this face that you have seen a couple of times before, and these green piercing eyes, you get the idea, and just from looking at the way that she is looking in, she is not connecting to anything except for the ball itself. It does not look like she's making direct eye contact with anyone or observing the room or anything like that. Her attention is focused on the orb itself and is not making eye contact with you or anyone else. So you can kind of perceive that she may not be able to see what's on the other side of the orb, simply only knowing that the orb exists.
Okay. I think she'll relay this to everyone else. I guess the closest one is Branimir. She'd tell Branimir, and excuse me, she'd relay it to everyone else as well.
I guess hearing this information and hearing that she does not appear to be aware that it's specifically us, if I'm understanding this correctly, that Bran
what her
would,
perception is, yes.
Yeah, Bran would kind of lower his stance a bit. Still having his Warhammer out, but not prepared to strike as he was.
It takes a second, a long moment in your guys' minds, in the time of an action. It takes a moment or two for you to realize this, but once Camille points this out, you can tell that she's focused on the orb. And with a moment of her observing it, spinning her fingers, trying to detect. After a moment, she snaps her fingers. The energy around it fades, as well as the orb itself. The picture you see is that of the Shadow Queen just simply fades to black, stuck in one picture. You are now all in the observatory with the light is now completely off. The surrounding picture that you normally see is off, similar as when you first came in. The only difference is there typically was light that was being emitted from the platform that you were on. That has gone out as well.
Emmy's going to check. She's going to touch the stone again and see if it still has any power to it.
You touch the orb again, but nothing happened.
Well, that is disappointing. Huh.
What did we just see? Where was that?
That was Aura, Saoirse.
Yeah, you would see her eyes slowly widen. My sister's in Aura. And then she would just be staring blankly at the orb.
Well, there's got to be something we can do to get it working again. Besides, we need it working so we can get where we need to go, whether that's Aura or wherever we decided we were going to go. And she goes back to, she kind of busies herself with the orb again. Is there some kind of way? Could she try to figure out a way to get it working again?
Make an intelligence check.
Okay.
Dante's
Just a straight intelligence or Arcana?
It can be Arcana.
Okay.
Dante was just going to go out to Saoirse and put his hand on her shoulder.
Oh my gosh, these rolls today. What's happening? It was a 1 and then a 2.
Let me... can Boltzmann try to help, at least?
You can make an arcane check as well.
Alright, let me try to help you out with that. And he just approaches as well. And you can see that while Boltzmann tries to help you out, hey, that's an 18. As Boltzmann tries to help you out, you can see that his face is there's this a combination of both concern and 1,000, probably like the look of a person having 1,000 things running through his mind right now. Then concern, then it's like his eyes go back and forth between the orb and then towards Saoirse and the others, even sometimes pausing for a bit, and then goes back towards the orb. Yeah, and how about DM with an 18? What happens?
With an 18, you begin looking at this thing, and there's not a lot of detail. There's not a lot of pieces to this thing. The only visible portion of this that you actually see in front of you is this orb and this kind of bowl-like structure that the orb sits in and spins in. And immediately, the first time you went up to it and Annie had touched it, the lights had come on, everything lit up. Now, there doesn't seem to be any kind of power source or anything powering this machine at this present time. It seems like whatever it was has been severed at this moment. It does not. With an 18, yeah, that's what you would see. That's what you would see and think.
Boltzmann's... So wait, the thing is still... I'm sorry. Oh, goodness. So the orb is still still deactivated, or nothing's happening.
Yes.
Damn it. He's just gonna shake his head, even kick at the bit, like a light tap of his foot at the base of it. What's going on? He's just gonna look back towards Emmy.
She's still slightly avoiding his eye contact. She looks back at the orb and she only gives him a look to like a raised eyebrow at the kick. Like obviously that's not gonna work. But also like she gets it. And she's staring at it and kind of tapping her head, and she's thinking out loud. You know, I suppose in I guess artificer terms, it looks like I guess it's out of juice. It's
What?
something, either we find a new fuel source for it, some new arcane source, or we boy, and she's very obviously like she's smiling still, like as best she can, but there's like an obvious discomfort of not knowing. She does not have an answer here, and that's very unsettling for her.
Is there any way for you to channel, wait. You're a divination. You're a scholar of divination. And is there any sort of way that you could channel that sort of magic to this thing here?
Well, I can scry myself, but I've never. I mean, well, to be fair, I suppose. And she kind of stops herself for a moment, and then she says, "No, I've never actually put my magic into something else. I suppose in that sense, sort of like what you do.
No, I mean,
Unless we could figure it out between the two of us, how to do something like that. I can scry though.
It's probably something like, all right, Dungeon Master. All right, player talking time.
As you are sitting there in the room discussing this, the light around the around the platform that you're standing on lights up.
Well, hello.
Wait, what?
Did it just need a rest? She touches the stone again.
As you touch the stone, you are again staring directly at yourself. The back of your head, push up 100, or the front of your face, 100 and some odd feet above you.
Oh, well.
Everybody make
that was
a
easier than I
perception
thought.
check. Everybody make a perception check.
Shit.
All right.
Oh, boy.
Oh,
You better.
Oh, nice.
Come
This
on.
is not going to be a good day.
Okay.
Oh,
The rolls are
17.
not in
Too
my favor.
distracted.
Clearly.
I
That's
would
what
say everybody with a 19 or above, you do notice a discoloration on Emmy's face.
Discoloration.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Oh,
What
son of a
sort
gun.
What sort of discoloration?
Are you?
She
Uh,
lets go.
Are you
At
right?
first,
Let's go.
it looks like Rund mascara, but as you look at it, and especially Dante, you see a reddish tone.
Emmy, are you okay? Did something happen?
She
Would this be a familiar sort of tone, specifically for Bran and his little encounter before?
What?
Succubus slash.
Yeah, it's gonna be the same. That's gonna be the same thing running through Boltzmann's mind.
Oh God.
I'll say that I won't say that you make that connection, but I will say that it is a reddish tone peeking through a paler exterior with mascara kind of clumping around it.
Emmy?
PTSD.
she tears her hand away from the stone. And her I guess her scarf that she had tied around, like sort of around her had fallen a little. She covers her face again. Oh no, I'm fine.
What was that?
Fine.
Did she,
Excuse me a moment. And she's kind of tries to make her way past everyone
well, Dante's not going to
to
stop
leave
her.
the observatory.
Brand
didn't-
just grunts.
Every-
He doesn't say anything, but he kind of gives Sirsha a curious, not Sirsha, Emmy a bit of a curious look as she leaves the room.
Can Boltzmann catch that? Bran just looking at Emmy.
Yeah. It's not hiding.
Bran, what was that?
I think a little bit of Emmy's secrets.
Gods. All right. One thing at a time. And Boltzmann just pinches the bridge of his nose. All right, one thing at a time.
Dante walks up beside the two of you.
Sirsha.
Dante walks up beside the two of you as he realizes you've noticed something. He's like, at least her hair's okay.
I think the hair is the least of our worries right now.
Boltzmann's too stunned to respond to such a statement.
He just sort of looks at the both of you and just shrugs.
Camille's just there, like looking around and having seen Emmy just walk off like that, which is normally what she does. You know, when in
Yeah.
certain situations, she finds that normal, but everyone else is like making a fuss out of it. So she's like, "Did I miss anything? What's going on?"
Hey, Kim. Maybe you should go and see if she's okay.
Eh?
Brand kind of gives Dante a concerned look.
Dante's not. Dante's got like this, like he's just had a bright idea, and he's just sort of looking at Camille, and sort of like, I think there's a perfect chance for you two to bond right now.
Is that wise, Dante?
Yes. Shh, Brand.
At
the side of his mouth.
right.
It's on your head, Dante.
Is there something wrong with her? Is she okay? And she's like slowly making her way towards where Emmy had bolted off.
Just don't surprise her, and just maybe just I don't know, just make sure she's okay.
Take a light approach.
She's had a makeup issue, I think.
Oh, and you're asking me to? I don't. Fine.
I know you have a
Fine.
natural beauty, Camille. It's okay. We understand. You wake up in the
No,
morning
that's
and you're
pretty
radiant. But it might be better if a woman took charge here.
You know, the more words you speak, Dante, the less likely she's going to be. You know.
Just like what?
No. Boltzmann just shakes his head. He goes back into looking at pretending to be busy with the orb.
So while can everyone just make sure that Sirsha's okay? I'll go check on Emmy.
I was actually going to ask. Sirsha. Brand turns his attention back to Sirsha with the look of concern still on his face. Your sister. She was in a expeditionary force? Scouting? Surely she can't be a part of all that.
I don't know. And her hand would have been drifting toward the hilt of that adamantine longsword as she's staring at the orb. And she just kind of pulls her hand away and shaking her head. I just know they said she was called to Aura by her patron. I've no idea who that is. She also served in the Almond military for a time. And last I knew, she had been starting to develop some abilities, magic, along the lines of Emmy. You know, the sort of things that Emmy can do.
She's a wizard of sorts.
A warlock?
I honestly have no idea. I don't think she never went to study anywhere, at least before I left. So I don't know if I don't wizards usually go to schools or some such or train under someone's tutelage?
Has she been doing that? She hasn't been. Like,
Perhaps.
let's just say, let's just get. If she's an intelligent woman like you, there's no way she was actually in Aura, because Aura had already fallen. So something like, if I were to think about that, I would believe that she was there to scout it out, or at least get some information. I can't imagine her going into Aura. It had fallen.
Agreed.
So
This kind of wry smile would form on Saoirse's face. You don't know Bryn.
well, we know you, so we assume she'd try something that you would. But just look at that city. Unless she can pass herself off as some sort of cultist undead thing, I highly doubt she'll get into the city. My money would be on her scouting it out, or perhaps her patron sent her just to assess the situation. But we'll find out.
I'm. It's not something I can do anything about right now, and we have a job to do.
Boltzmann will fix this ball, and you'll be able to find her.
As long as we don't have... Was that the... And she would trail off. Is that who I think it was?
Seems like.
I believe everyone in the group has seen her, at least the Shadow Queen, at least once during the tournament.
Without a doubt, that was indeed the Shadow Queen. And, if anything, she now knows that this orb exists and where it probably is right now. So, I think we better hurry up before she sends someone or something here.
I agree with Boltzmann. It's time to relocate.
Boltzmann, he looks back towards the orb, and just out of curiosity, he puts his hand on it, and after doing so, what happens? Yeah.
You were looking at your face, but exploded 150 feet up in the surrounding you in this orb-like structure. As soon as you move your hand, you notice that the position of your hand moves, controls your perspective.
Then, can Boltzmann still speak? And yeah,
Any what?
can he still talk?
Yeah. It is. Everyone sees. Everyone in this
Everyone
room
sees this.
Yes, everyone sees the exact same thing.
Yeah.
That's why when Nimi's hand touched it, and everyone saw her face so large. That's how she was able to
Yeah.
see.
Let me try to look somewhere. And Boltzmann slowly moves his hand, and with this, the orb's view just shifts as well, leading up towards a certain area.
As you start to move the orb, we'll cut to who went after Nimi. Nobody?
Camille.
She went, she had snatched the strap of her bag real quick and ran out, went not too terribly far, but probably off towards some arch, some structure that she could sit behind and maybe not in the direct, I don't know, she doesn't know her way around to hide properly, but she's immediately got her little pocket mirror out, hunched over, and is trying her best to like very quickly start, doing her mixing of certain colors and things like that, and trying to rematch.
Did anyone leave the room besides you? Nobody?
And Camiel.
Yeah,
leave.
it was only Camille that actually chased after Emmy out of concern.
Forced concern.
Forced
They
concern?
told me to do it.
Conflicted
They told me
concern.
that something was wrong.
I'm not trying to force roleplay here. You guys are cool.
I think I think if after the exchange about Saoirse's sister, if any of the guys were to share with her seeing something on Emmy's face and Emmy running out in the way she did,
Mm.
Saoirse might put 2 and 2 together and hurry after her as well.
So Cam, you
Emmy's not
do
a great
see
hider per se, but
you do see Emmy under like a magical torchlight in one of the other platforms, kind of surrounding the main orb, trying to kind of put herself together.
There you are. What are you doing?
oh my goodness gracious, why are you here?
Well, everyone was saying something that you were, you needed a bit of help. You just ran off, and she's coming closer and closer. It's not the time to be putting on your makeup or anything. What? Are you okay?
Camille, can you just stop, please? Just and like she holds her hand out, and she's looking away from her, and her hand's kind of shaking a little bit. Just, I'm fine. Every girl just likes to look her best, is all. I'm fine. Honestly.
What time is it right now, DM?
It is not like sleeping time, but it's getting that way. It's later in the evening.
As soon as Emmy tells her to stop, she does stop almost immediately. Like she's about to step into a puddle of water, and she stops, freezes, and she does notice that her hand is shaking, and and Camille kind of tilts her head a little. Can't you tell that she's trying to hide something? Obviously.
I don't think you need an insight check on that one.
Yeah. May I? Let's see. Where's my insight? There it is. 12.
Yeah, it's pretty simple to see that she's discombobulated, running out.
Discombobulated.
Discombobulated. Yeah, she is shaken, and her hand reflects that. Her tone reflects that.
I don't mean to be rude, but it is rather late night, and you're obviously shaken by something. If you're if you're trying to hide something, you don't have to hide it from me.
Oh no? Sometimes you seem to have a bit of a way. It's all right. It's not just you. Most people do. And she's she's shifted so that her back is very specifically towards Camiel. And as she's continuing to quickly dot some color back onto her face. And she says, some things just tend to stand out. And sometimes you don't always want to stand out. Besides, don't we have more important things to worry about, like that getting wherever we need to go in the morning or however long we're going to be here, I guess.
True, but everyone else in the party should be well, and I can tell something's bothering you, and you're trying to hide whatever it is. Whatever it is, I'm sure we don't mind, and I know I come across as some way with certain things, and
And she can't help but kind of like laugh, not like a mean laugh, but she kind of
Mhm.
can't help but just like laugh a little.
Mhm. And maybe in the future it can be explained as to why, but it's nothing against you. It's something against a certain folk.
Who?
I can't say. I apologize.
I thought we were all about sharing.
You got me there. And her laugh is kind of dry. If you really must know, greed does things to certain folk. And I've seen the worst of it. That's all I can see. Greedy men. That's all it is.
Well, coming from a port city, I've seen my fair share of folks who are much more interested in the material than they are in pretty much anything else, let alone knowledge.
Oh, it had nothing to do with gold, Emmy.
What were they greedy for then?
Camille doesn't want to. She could tell. I don't think Emmy actually sees because her back is turned. But Camille is fighting. She doesn't want to talk about it. But she understands that in order for Emmy to give, Camille has to give as well. So she's thinking about it. She's weighing the pros and cons of having to release such sensitive information. And after a long pause, Camille kind of just grits her teeth. And finally she says, innocence.
And Emmy turns around. She turns her face around, but she has her scarf kind of over. It's kind of slanted to cover most of her face. The only side that's you can see is the one that she managed to touch up, at least mostly. And she says, that sounds a lot more dangerous than gold.
They didn't really care much about the danger. They just wanted to hide out of it.
Ain't that something?
That's all I can give you. And that's all I'm comfortable to give to someone that I hardly know.
I understand. I'm not trying to cause y'all any trouble. I'm only trying to help.
I know. It's like I told Branimir back then, I know you're not evil. You're young, and you're full of intelligence and wit and wanting to fill your cup to the brim. And that can be dangerous too.
So I've seen.
So what's really wrong with you?
She looks down again. And she's like she's looking down at her hands with the little compact mirror, and there's like an assortment of like powders, a lot of different mixes of like mostly skin tone, like that matches her own skin tone. I think actually as a player, as an artist, can understand like the palette of colors here.
Yeah.
And she stares at it a while, and she says, well, some people don't seem to understand that there's beauty in brains, being intellectual. And sometimes it doesn't always match what's on the outside. Sometimes you have to make it match. She kind of holds up the makeup. She keeps her face covered, but she holds up the makeup, and she's as if to make the point, to make it match. And she says, I don't want to, I don't want to show that part off when it doesn't match.
Camille, as she's speaking, she's like pretty much like a bird that her head is tilting from side to side, obviously very confused. And she looks at the makeup. She's trying to put two and two together. So what if it doesn't match?
If it doesn't match, people notice. And people, as you know, can be pretty cruel sometimes.
But you're not alone. You have us. You've got nothing to be scared of.
Well, like you said, I only just met y'all. Who knows?
That's true.
I've done this dance before with people that I've known much longer than y'all. People who you would think might understand that even if it doesn't outside match the inside, it ought to be all right. But no, he didn't think so.
He?
Oh, is that what I said? And she sort of like half smirks, and she's just kind of leaning her head in her hands at this point. Well, yeah, once upon a time. You know, you spend a lot of time on a single person, and maybe that's not always a good idea to do.
Well, maybe he was the wrong person to tell your secrets to. Maybe it's not you. Maybe it was him. Didn't you think of that?
Oh, certainly. Certainly. Then again, he's not the only one. It's just something you grow up with when you are a kind of way, when you look a kind of way, when you are very different than the people around you. So when you can use deduction, logically, if 99.6% of folks are not going to be happy to see someone like you, you tend to keep yourself in a manner that would please 99.6% of the folks.
As she's actually talking, Camiel is carefully taking steps forward. Just carefully taking steps forward. Are you seeing your
and he
ugly?
doesn't stop her or anything. ugly. Well, no. You've seen. I'm clearly a beauty queen. Could have been in pageants. You know, with a touch of makeup, you and I could both enter some fun pageants, make some more money. A little easier than fighting shadow queens.
Oh no, I have my fair share of not wanting to be in the spotlight, but being a paladin, it just comes with the territory. It's not like I wanted to be one, it was just forced on me like everything else. This is not
I
about
get
me
it.
anyway.
Not yet.
What? May I see?
See what a freak of nature looks like. I don't know. You did just eat.
You just said you weren't that ugly.
Not when I make the outside match the inside. I'm a beautiful soul, as they say.
I've seen freaks of nature. Well, maybe if I have your permission, I'd like to see what you're just trying to hide. I'm sure it's not as bad as you think it is. I'm also a freak of nature, apparently. An Azamar. Rare as can be.
Your wings fluff out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say, like, are you now? And she actually remembers, and she tentatively mentions, well, those big, white, beautiful wings. How many of them have little black feathers in them? How many others like you?
I'm sorry?
Little black feather. Oh, I thought we weren't hiding things anymore.
What? And Camille actually looks. She's almost forgotten about it until it was brought up. And she sees the little black feathers. She pauses and she doesn't. Obviously, she's a little distraught by it, but she kind of folds her wings back a little just to hide it. Oh, yeah, that's right. I have toast now. I'm just molting. Yeah, I'm just molting. I think.
I couldn't tell you. I don't know how y'all work.
Oh, we molt.
I could look it up.
Well, that would be great. But I have questions of my own that I eventually will get some answers to. But so I've heard. Azamars are supposed to be. What's the word? It was a big word. I read it once and now I can't seem to think quite right. I'm some form of message from the twisted gods of catastrophe or a miracle. So yes, a freak of nature.
Miracles sound nice.
I could also be a curse.
Oh, I've got plenty of those too. And she actually does hesitantly move the scarf over. And on the other side of her face that she didn't get to touch up, below her eyes, it's streaked of the makeup color, and underneath it, like that was seen in the orb, it is like red, as if that's like the natural tone. Beneath it is this stark red color. The skin kind of looks a little less, just not quite less smooth. It's just slightly maybe tougher. It just looks different. And it's notably like that's what's beneath the color palette that she has on her face and in her hands. Yeah, I
Camiel,
get curses.
wait. Camiel pauses, and she sees this discoloration, or the more natural color to Emmy, and she gets down on one knee. She looks at her, again tilts her head, and her eyes squint. Is this a curse, or I think it's stunning.
You don't have to lie to me. That's quite all right. I've known you at least that long. No, it's definitely some kind of, I don't know what. I was born with it. This and other things easier to hide. Makeup every night. Every single night. I'm very good at doing it, but it does get a little tiring. No, this is just how I showed up in this world. Looking like this.
Have you ever seen a red robin?
Yes.
We don't question where they got their colors from. Well, someone like you would, of course. But someone as I, who grew up in nature with absolutely nothing but birdsong and stars in the skies every night, I never questioned it. I always thought it was beautiful. It was the only company I ever had. Red robins, blue jays. I don't see anything wrong with you. The only thing that's wrong is this makeup. You're covering up something so beautiful. Why are you doing that?
Because it's not. A robin is one thing, and peaceful company. But a human should not look like a robin. A human should not look like someone just dropped a lobster in a boiling pot of water. That's not what a human should look like.
So you're human, but with red skin? Camille just doesn't quite understand this yet.
I have the same question. Hence, I'm always on the lookout for an answer. It's probably one of the reasons I like finding answers so much.
Is
Because
this
there's one question that I just can't find an answer to.
Is this all that you're hiding? Is just the red skin? That's all. Nothing more? No extra limbs.
First,
She's
she was,
obviously joking.
and at first she was like starting to like slowly settle like into an almost a glare, and then she kind of laughs a little. I don't know that you'd call it extra limbs, but I'd really rather not. And she kind of like fixes her hair a little bit.
It's about this time that you see Saoirse kind of poke around the corner.
Camille pauses and actually sees Saoirse. She's unsure if Saoirse wants to be found. So,
No, Saoirse would have stepped out noticeably just around the
Mhm.
corner and would have been kind of leaning there, listening, not really looking at them,
Mhm.
but probably just kind of glances up at Camiel. And then she would pipe in. Emmy, you might find that we're all more understanding than you think. I told you before that I never sensed anything unnatural about you. So whatever it is, if it's not unnatural, then it's natural.
I'd really like to believe that. And maybe it's not a curse. I don't know. I don't. And she's like starting to get kind of panicky again. Like she's like twiddling, like tapping her fingers on the mirror case and looking down again. These are just not answers that I have right now.
So that's what you're looking for. You're looking for answers to lift this. And then she pauses and looks at Saoirse and looks back at Emmy. And obviously she doesn't believe what's going to come out of her mouth. A curse.
I didn't say it was a curse. It just feels like a curse. If I was just born this way, then it is natural, isn't it? Just naturally how I showed up. How it's always been.
I think at this point, Camiel would start thinking about what she actually is. As a player, I think I know, but Camiel does not, and she doesn't want to jump to the conclusions and offend Emmy. But she looks at Saoirse and she quietly mouths, "Tiefling?"
And at that, reading her lips, she would probably nod a little, have this kind of quizzical look on her face, eyes widen a bit, and then just nod, like, could be, and mouth back to her, could be.
She looks at Emmy and slowly but gently puts a hand on Emmy's hand that's constantly tapping on her little compact mirror. I personally don't think it's a curse, but you are your person, I am my person. We're, like I said before, we're two very different people. Women, Azamar, and human, if that's what you'd like to think you are. If you want to continuously hide... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, at that sentence, she looks up, like, and tilts her head. She doesn't say anything, but she tilts her head at that statement.
If you're comfortable behind the glamour of makeup, I'm not going to pry that away from you. But if I were to be completely honest with you, which I always have been, and that's the reason why we kept fighting, I think the best step forward is to stop hiding. Just accept what you have now, and we will see if this is truly a curse, and we can help you. We can help you find the answers. We can fight for you.
I don't understand. I'm sorry. I think I misunderstood something.
Mm-hmm.
Never mind. This is just, there have been apparently, I've been doing some research, like I said, and there apparently have been other people in situations like this. Just never got a chance to ask some folks for what they thought. But,
You know, the men, Dante Boltzmann and Branimir had a friend when I first met them named Apricity,
Ooh.
who, by the sounds of it, from what you're saying about yourself, well, Apricity had purple skin, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
And Ward just let it be out and was proud of the difference.
And there was also that pretty lady back at the White Lady Inn. The one Branimir was being so rude with until I told him to stop being so rude. Not that one.
Yes.
She was completely fine. She was just the way that she is. No shame at all, and no one was judging her. Maybe
So-
you were just with the wrong people who don't particularly understand you and just jump to the conclusion.
So these were other people you knew with condition like this. Just a woman walking around with purple skin and ain't no one saying nothing about it.
Oh, she
Not
was
that
sweet.
I'm aware of.
No, Apricity was very sweet. Very sweet. I met her just once and then she disappeared the next day. But I didn't see anything wrong with her. I didn't question it. I thought it was completely normal.
Well, I will say, just for the record, purple and red ain't exactly the normal skin tones for people, for humans, I should say.
Well, maybe because you're not human. And she
just
says that.
stares.
She says that and it just slips out without her like holding it back, knowing that it could be taken kind of wrongly. But yeah, she says that.
And Emmy just, like, uncomfortably just bursts out laughing. Just like that real awkward, like uncomfortable laugh, but she just like can't help herself laughing.
Are the
And when
boys
she
going to
finally-
be able to hear that?
They might. It's like one of those like almost like a squeaky kind of laugh. Just like it's like a full on like you can't control it, like belly laugh.
Not maniacal in any way.
See, they're getting
You
along
guys are still
well.
in. If you're still in the orb, you're focused on the orb.
Ah, damn it.
Brand's just making sure Boltzmann isn't fucking alerting the Shadow Queen again. I'll smash the orb.
No, Daddy, please. I mean, no. God, no.
You did this to...
Only Dante was there to hear that.
Let it be known. Let it be known that it's Boltzmann's.
I didn't mean to do that.
When she finally stopped laughing, she started like laugh crying, and so like the makeup she had just done started to smear again as she's like wiping her eyes. And she's like holding her chest, like, oh my goodness gracious. What? I thought we were having a serious conversation. What? Oh my gosh.
Usually I am very hilarious, but I wasn't joking. And she says that kind of like painfully, like her face is like contorted in pain.
Camael, do you need to rest a minute?
Well, not really.
Then I guess here I do consider myself quite smart, but that I don't understand.
Maybe you're not human, Emmy. Maybe there's nothing wrong with you. Because there is nothing wrong with you.
I don't know exactly how Asimars procreate, but pretty sure got my human parents. And she's saying this like as if talking to like a 5-year-old, like human mama and human daddy and
Oh, the sex.
coming
yes.
together and It's, you know.
I tried
But
reading
in
about
all
it. I hated it.
but in all seriousness, I was actually meaning to ask Bran a question. Since I had read something something about I don't know. Well, that would be leaning more towards a curse kind of thing and something that perhaps divine magic might have something to do with and could help. And she's going on about thoughts of, like, other things she's looked up about it. But no, she's still like giggling every now and then. Not human. All right. Well, I'll keep that on my list of just in cases.
Well, if you're human, then I'm a dragonborn.
You're serious.
I'm serious.
She looks at Saoirse. She's serious.
It's crossed
You're
my mind
serious.
too.
She's looking at the both
We
of them
live
like,
in a world where you can wield such powers as you do. Who knows what's possible?
okay. Oh. So, in your minds, what are you thinking then? Let's explore our avenue, shall we? What are you thinking?
That you're a robin pretending to be something completely different just because you don't like the color of your feathers.
Well, I ain't a bird, so let's talk real terms for a moment, if that's all right.
I think you're seeing issues in yourself. I'm probably the wrong person to be talking about this to, but I personally don't see anything wrong with you. I think you're a tiefling, and that's fine.
A tiefling.
I'm just jumping to conclusions. Don't crucify me. I don't see anything else on you. It could be a tiefling. They have like horns, and when she's explaining, she's like making hand gestures. They've got horns, and they've got a beautiful long tail, and they've got stunning shades of colors on their skin, and radiant
At the
eyes.
mention of horns, Saoirse would kind of look away, biting her lips.
Oh. Sorry.
Emmy's just staring at her. Like her eyes just kind of go like deadpan as she's saying this. It's like, how?
You know, Apricity had these quite lovely horns on her head. They only added to her beauty.
Okay. Okay. I from a logical understanding, I see what it is y'all are in fact saying. And she's got like this pinched look on her face. As she's like piecing together each word like dreadfully, like painfully. Now, as you know, I am not a stupid woman, and I have some knowledge of how tieflings come about, and I must mark that against how, in fact, I came about, and where my family is from and how that makes no sense whatsoever. Just none. I. Mm, mm-hmm. Like the words are just like slower and just like more painful as they were coming out.
Well, I obviously don't have the answers. I don't even know where I came from. I think I was just birthed from a tree, and here I am. But with your questions, you're right. We don't know everything about how tieflings are created and how you have human parents and how you're completely different. And we should get those answers for you. If you want to talk to Branimir about it, or hell, maybe even Boltzmann or Dante, because I hear he's been round the block. He probably knows more than any of us combined, and he's just plain stupid.
He plays it well.
Oh, he plays his cards just right.
You can see she's like slowly shaking her head and like rubbing her forehead, just thinking, and probably more of the makeup a little bit's coming off on like her gloves. She doesn't normally touch her face very often, but it's like coming off on her gloves a little bit, but she doesn't really care at this point. I think I've got some more research to do. If y'all wouldn't mind, I know I've already asked you, Saoirse. If y'all wouldn't mind, just can we not speak on this much with. I'm not trying to cause strife. I know y'all have been together and traveling a long time, and I've been with other groups. Just can we not make this just a big deal?
We weren't going to.
You can talk about it with the others if and when you are ready. I won't say a word.
Neither will I. I'll try to keep my mouth shut about it. But I have a sneaking suspicion everyone else knows. I was the only one stupid enough to notice anything. Your business is your own. That damn Dante.
What did Dante say?
He told me that there was something wrong with you. And go check on her, little bastard.
They indicated that they told me they saw something on your face when you touched the orb again. And I just put 2 and 2 together and came out to make sure you were okay.
Damn it.
I said nothing to them before I left.
Thank you. I just have some more research to do, that's all. I'll find the answer eventually.
You could talk to Boltzmann about it.
No. I mean, I'm sure I'll pick his brain eventually. Yeah.
All right. I appreciate that you've opened up a little more, and I know that this is very uncomfortable for you. But if you would, keep mine to yourself, and I'll keep yours to me.
Sounds fair.
Okay. You don't have to put your makeup on. You're beautiful. And she, taps her shoulder just gently and gets up on both her feet. Turns around, looks at Saoirse. gives her like a look of like, I can't say that she's disappointed. It's as though to say that there's nothing else that can be done right now. It's as if to say that, and she exits the area and reunites with everyone else, glaring at Dante as soon as she sees him.
Dante's not choosing not to acknowledge it.
So, before you come back, Boltzmann was looking at the orb when you left. Boltzmann, you wanted to look at your former place of employment, correct?
Yes. Or HQ.
So as soon as you touch the orb, you find yourself inside the observatory itself, seeing yourself blown up, and as you look, you can see that it's a real-time image of your face looking up at the screen of yourself. Roll a intelligence check, or a sleight of hand check. One of those two.
Oh, an Arcana or a Sleight of Hand.
Yes, that's fine.
All right. Oh, nice. That is a 28.
And then also roll me a survival check to be able to navigate the.
Oh
what you
no.
see.
Oh no. Please? Hey, that's a 15.
Everyone has to go through this.
Oh.
So not so far from your current location is another mountain, much further north, nowhere as big as the towering giant that Titan Crest is, but you are able to move yourself, and after a few moments, getting acclimated to the actual movements of your hand and how it corresponds to the actual viewing device and your viewing angle. You spend a moment, you get your bearings, you find the general area of this place before centering in on a specific mountain. Turning to the most southern-facing side of the mountain, at the base, you zoom into what looks like an unassuming active mine. There's a small camp outside. There are fires going because it is already nighttime. You do see torches lit around the campsite. So you see this small little active mine. There's a camp there outside. At first glance, you see the dirty, exhausted miners. Roll a perception check with advantage.
Yay. Perception.
And everybody else roll perception without advantage in the room. So the ladies do not.
Way to clarify.
Measly 13.
And Dante
Dante is.
was out. Okay.
Yeah, he's down.
Okay.
That's a 17 for me.
You see, and you are specifically looking for this. You look, and you see a few miners closest to the opening with swords, which isn't unheard of. But when a small gust of wind hits, you see that the same miner garb, the seemingly bulky tunic that kind of covers the body, a flash of metal is seen beneath this miner's garb. Not many miners wear a breastplate while breaking rocks. Yeah, the only person that sees this is Boltzmann. As you scroll the sphere past the camp and begin down into the cavern itself, you come to an open shaft that is about 25 feet wide, 25 feet long, and it has a platform that is dangling on a large cable of sorts. You cannot see the bottom. You can see that the platform is elevated above the opening, and you can look down. You see deep enough that you can observe the bottom. Only small glimmers of like magical torches that seem to light the way down. Above the platform, a slowly spinning set of gears attached to a large steel cable that descends the platform into the shaft. You spin your orb downward and begin to quickly move down into the depths. Lower and lower you move, 100, 200, 500 feet. When you get very far down the shaft, you get to a landing, an opening tunnel that levels out. You knowingly don't turn, but you continue down the tunnel, but you continue straight through. You pass through a layer of rock and then steel, and then are in a very dark stone tunnel. It continues moving straight into the earth, continuing another 100, 200 feet or so, until you see the beginning to see the signs of life. A quick vertical turn, and you instantly see a very familiar set of 10-foot wide by 20-foot tall, metal-clad double doors. As you move forward toward the doors, you see a series of small metal pipes, similar in fashion to your arcane firearm. The first thing you think of is you're wondering why there's not been upgrades to security. But then you remember Iron Weaver was always lacking creativity.
Boltzmann is like busy focusing on these these sites. You can hear him just give out comments. That no upgrades, nothing new, disappointing. And when finally reaching those familiar set of doors, can't believe I'm back here. Then he's gonna continue pushing forward, pushing deeper.
You pass through the large steel doors, and hold on one second. Sorry, I had to cough.
Goodness.
Sorry, that wasn't muted. Sorry. You pass through the large steel doors and into a very large open chamber, very similar in size to the one that you're actually in now here in Titan Crest. Except Titan Crest is full of these bioluminescent, like fungi and alien-looking flora, and these mushrooms that go up to 10 foot tall. This cavernous you see in front of you is a mix between industrial trades and state-of-the-art arcane. Mostly of alien-looking technology to anyone except for Boltzmann, who can identify typically most everything that he sees. The cavern is hundreds of feet across, hundreds of feet tall, with large devices everywhere. You're in this main chamber of this facility. What are you specifically looking for? Who? Boltzmann. Boltzmann.
Uh-oh.
Boltzmann internet dying again.
No,
Yep.
his internet died.
No.
Worst possible moment.
Alright, well, we'll go off of what he told me before.
There we go.
Oh, you're good, you're good.
Hey.
No.
So you're in this large chamber.
Yeah, and
You're in this large chamber. What are you specifically looking for?
yeah, Boltzmann is going to recall an area where they would be testing out new equipment, or there has to be something new between the years that he's been gone, especially with these current happenings, especially now that he's told Ironweaver certain things, even the higher ups. Surely something should have there's some new development going on. He wants to know if there is such a thing.
Okay. The first place that you can look is this large area. This is the large cavern. It's really not production and R&D, but it's really, once prototypes have already cleared approvals, they go through a refining period of administration, meaning the Crown Guards administration, councils, the royal court, the king himself, and then also the manufacturing wing of Vanguard, the Forge Keepers, and then the high command of the Underkeep as well. So making sure the changes in scope and the production are all kept within the demands made from the higher-ups. And that's what you're seeing is these slight revisions, not reorganizing the entire projects. And each place has its own little bay. You see a few of the new autonomous artillery devices, the bolt strikers, which you had seen in the, I believe it was in Numer previously.
Boltzmann scoffs at the idea. Ugh. Disappointed.
It's a very large Barnabas. There are a few men in uniform, very undesirable gray and brown button-up tunics with ranking insignias as seen on the other Vanguard groups on the left, and a patch on the right of a cog and chain wrapping around a skull. You think to yourself, Iron Waver always had very poor fashion choices. The old uniforms were much better. You look over some of the other prototypes that are being adjusted and retooled for production, and you do see something that catches your eye. Near the end of the row in one of the bays, you see 2 men and 2 women gathered around a glowing blue arcane ball of energy. Almost a half-circle pattern surrounding one woman with an alloy ringlet device around her forearm that she is holding across her body, producing the half-circle of arcane energy. You hear the woman say to the others over the slight hum of the device, "Command says the stability of the user needs to increase by 50%. She modestly eyes rolls at the unquantifiable number from a layman administrator who does receive a few chuckles from her group mates before continuing. "I understand that to mean that it has to be able to take a direct hit from someone much bigger and let me stand my ground with minimal effort. If the tweaks we made from the coupling mechanism and the increase of the downforce of the quantum defibrillator were close to being right, this should be a piece of cake. Gerald, go ahead. Take a crack at me."
This is going to be horrible.
A young man looks much like a young Boltzmann, pushes his glasses up his nose, selects a 2-handed mace from the wall, a half wall, creating their own little, on their own little bay. "This should do nicely. I've been waiting to get back at Jules since Hell Week." The woman clears her throat in response. "Sorry, I've been waiting to get back at Lieutenant Banner since Hell Week." Much better. Gerald then moves a few steps in front of the woman and with little warning swings the giant mace over his head and charges forward, sending the mace directly into the path of the giant arcane shield. When the mace hits, Lieutenant Banner does not move, but poor Gerald loses grip of the mace, which flies out of his hand and is shot like a rocket behind him, slamming into one of the bolt strikers, cracking a crystal window showing some of the internal workings. As an argument ensues between the 2 groups of scientists, you continue down the line.
Good old days, good times. It's like Boltzmann's just it's not too sure. He's not too sure on whether or not he's saying these with as if reminiscing or being just in self-deprecation or something, and he's just and yeah, he just moves on. He's just saying all of these to himself.
Poor old girl has seen some hard times. Huh?
Yeah, and I don't know. And Brand's just looking at this in confusion. I don't know how Brand's looking at this right now, but yeah.
All this technobabble.
Hells yeah. The spectacle of failure.
So at the end of this open space, this huge cavern, there are 3 tunnels, which you know well. One to the right leads to private quarters, leads up to private quarters, a ramp up to private quarters. One leads up to administration and then goes up to the other side. And the last is a center tunnel that leads down to the R&D labs. Which way do you direct yourself?
You could, to anybody looking at Boltzmann right now, you can see that there's now a shift in the way he maneuvers. You know, he moves the viewport, whatever, the field of view. Every move that he's made so far was sure. You know, he knows where to go. But now seeing this, he pauses for a bit, and he's not too sure on what to do, on which part to go first. It's supposed to be obvious, but then what he does is he moves forward. Which path is to the quarters? DM.
To the quarters would be to the left.
and he moves it towards the left.
Yeah, I'm sorry, up to the right. As soon as you roll forward, you see something familiar. You see, not familiar to you, but a static build up onto the orb until you're no longer sending any picture or sound. It's only static that you see. You can roll an arcane check, but I think...
There we go. I thought I was cutting off. An Arcana check, please. That is a 16.
Yeah,
on Arcana.
you understand that there is technology that exists that would be able to block these cries. And although it may be used, you're at one point you're surprised that if they're using it, they didn't use it in the prototype, the refinement. But you also know that there are things within the administration, and there's things that within the R&D that are much more sensitive in nature than anything else in the lab. So it does make sense to you that this section would be blocked to scrying eyes.
So that's the general area. Has that field protecting it?
Yeah, anything that you go further into this place, all three ramps kind of go forward and then to the left or to the right. As far as you go, and you roll around for a little bit, trying to get your bearings back, and nothing that you can find shows anything except for that static, except for this main shape, and especially not where you're looking for. Nothing in the administration or the R&D.
So, so he can't push. He can't push it forward.
Yeah, every time you do, it slowly fades out, fades to static.
Come on, damn it! With that, that was the one spot that he wanted to check. But then, damn it! You can now see that Boltzmann, that realizing that he can't, what he wanted to know, he can't really see it. His shoulders slump. He shakes his head and he lets go of the orb. But I do believe, DM, the way that you're saying it, he can't explore any area.
From what your arcane roll told you was that there is large sections of this facility outside of this main chamber that are blocked from scrying. They have some sort of enchantment that allows them to be blocked, which is explaining the static. As soon as he gets near that block, then it just fades.
Yeah, realizing that, he even kind of he like knocks the side of his head. Of course. How did I forget that? Yes, and just shakes his head. Yeah, he lets go. He lets go of the orb, and he looks back towards. He just looks towards Bran. I think.
Dante's there too.
What was it? What was that?
I said Dante's there too.
Oh yeah, Dante is there too. He's being sneaky. You realize it, but yeah.
Just a curious look on his
Anywhere
face.
else that you want to look?
Anybody else? Anywhere else, guys?
No, Brandon's already looked at all he needed to see.
In that case,
Well, we need to look at the locations for the other artifacts.
no. Wait. If you let me. Damn it! There shouldn't be much time, but just a quick glance, okay? And Boltzmann puts his hand back onto the orb, and first thing is what's the name of that place? God, Bloomer Spring, was it?
Okay.
The one, that place with a mine.
Yep.
He's going. Yeah, that's where he's going to. He's going to scry that area. Wants to know what's going on down there. Or up there?
Okay. So you scroll out a bit, zooming out. It's definitely getting a little bit harder because it's getting darker. But you do find your way up north. You do see enough to be able to make your way up north to Bloomer Spring, the far north mining town. You find it with relative ease. As you kind of stroll along the main road and you kind of roll into town, you see the inn that is near almost like the middle of town. And out front you see a woman, redheaded bar hand that you had seen and talked to and learned of her heroic and tragic past. You see her pulling water from a well and then turning around and going back into the inn. She disappears inside. Everything that you can tell as you take roll a perception check.
Please. Alright. That's a 12.
Yeah. Everything that you see seems somewhat fairly normal. There doesn't seem to be, when you first thought about what was said about this place or what could have been, you almost thought of empty streets and almost a deserted town at best, or wandering hordes of monsters at worst. From everything that you can tell, this place looks normal. There are dirty miners enjoying a food cart and the market. There are a few cleaner-looking miners heading in the direction of the mine, as if they're going to begin a shift. What was your perception?
That's a 12 perception.
Everybody roll, everyone that's in there. I'll say that Saoirse has come back by this time, and even Cameo.
Thank you.
Dante. As you are looking at these, the marketplace there, you do see, and Cameo, you happen to see it as well. You're looking over the marketplace, seeing these miners enjoying a meal, and behind it, you squint, and not knowing what you're seeing for a moment, you point to it and kind of push Boltzmann to push in until everyone sees very clearly. You see a stall that you don't remember seeing there before. A green canvas tarp with gold lettering, closed for the evening. But on the tarp says Dr. Tannenbaum's Elixirs and Tonics.
Motherfucker! He's here.
Dante's just staring.
Well, that's not good.
I believe that is the opposite of good. I believe that is fault.
Fuck.
How many people could be infected?
All of them. This is giving me Stratholm flashbacks.
The entire city must be purged.
Arthas, are you mad?
I'm not your king yet, boy.
No.
Wait, I said that wrong.
Whoops. Boltzmann frantically looks towards Bran. Bran, ring of sending. And he's panicking a bit.
Is that wise?
Who are you going to send it to?
Who can tell? But who can we? But then, yeah, immediately
The barmaid?
he asks himself. Oh no, the barmaid. The barmaid's probably infected as well.
Yeah. Bran would point that out. Are you sure that's wise, Boltzmann? You would know them more than anyone here.
No. Gods.
Are you still holding on to the orb, or did you let it go?
I think at this point probably Boltzmann would have let go of the orb.
Dante,
Yep.
Dante, you thought you saw something when you were looking at this. So much so that you reach out and you want to check. Do you tell Boltzmann or do you touch the orb?
Well, I'll tell Boltzmann to focus on something. Just focus there, and
Okay.
I'll point to the spot.
So you tell him to zoom. You tell him to zoom out as much as possible. You're kind of
Enhance.
looking overhead.
That's-
You're looking overhead at this ocean, and in this dark ocean now, because it is late at night, you pull back almost 2 miles or so, being able to see the entire almost point that was Volk's Point and Bloomer Spring, and you see something far out into the distance, into the ocean. Looking where the ocean kind of that looks out, you can look out from the town looking over that ocean. You see like a small dim light in the far distance. And you move in, you see a glimmer, something unnatural in the currents of the waters and this glow that doesn't seem to be coming from anything. You take a minute and you move in. You move closer, and for a moment you lose sight of it. Once you're close, but you hear a noise, and you begin to hear this almost humming sensation.
Is this sensation in any way familiar to Boltzmann?
No.
Awfully familiar. Oh, okay.
You take a moment, you move in closer, and as you get closer to the noise, this constant hum, the closer you get, you see a disruption in the water. It looks like something is moving and steadily outward from that single location. From this small point of light that you see, you're now close to it. You can see distortions coming off of this light. You move towards the sound, and as you move upward, the hum becomes louder and louder, until one moment you are looking at darkness of the sky. You pass through a dark metal alloy and into a dimly lit room. Boltzmann, roll a history check.
Come on. Oh god. Is anybody help me out here? He's not. Oh my god.
Roll better.
The only one
too
with-
spooked.
Roll better.
He's too
Smart
spooked
one's
for
not there
this.
for a history check.
I'll allow. Hold on 1 second.
Resident historian.
Historian.
Resident historian, please.
So as you're looking at this does not look familiar to you. This room is filled with only what can be described as organic, sculpted-looking metal vines.
Oh,
You turn, and you can see these organic metal cocoons up against the sidewall of this metal room, with more vines connecting to each of them. You move around the room slowly, and you see a figure move towards you. Ominous, threatening in appearance, one that you've seen many times before, in illithid form, a mind flayer. You look at one of these cocoons as it walks past and disappears around the corner. You focus back on this cocoon, the cocoon structure closely, and you get to a certain point, and you're able to see a strip of translucent material towards one end. You focus on it and position yourself best way so you can see, and you see eyeballs, fully open, with tiny metal arms holding each lid open. The eyeball behind it, passive, as if asleep, or in some sort of suspended animation. The eyeball is human. The face that's covered mostly by the cocoon is human. But your first thought is, for how long? And that is where we're going to take our break.
Oh, gods, no. Okay. I'm stressed out, DM. Thank you.
Yeah, good spot to take a break.
We're live.
Shower back.
And that is why I say that you should not lick doorknobs. Yes. And we're live.
Fine.
Hey.
Weird coin. What?
Oh.
I really like the doorknobs though.
I mean,
Euphemisms.
I'll try.
I understand. Anyways, yes, we're
Doorknobs.
live. Yes, doorknobs.
So what are you guys doing? You have this information now.
So Dante.
Yeah.
So Dante turns to Boltzmann and sort of Ram as well, and sort of and Emmy. Camille. Just sort of like
Yeah.
I've completely forgotten his name, but who was the wizard that helped heal Boltzmann?
East.
Whis.
Whis.
Yeah, Whis.
Bran.
Exactly. That's
Bran.
The Dragonborn.
Bran,
Exactly,
get that
that's
ring and call Whis. Tell him. He knows. He knows exactly what we dealt with, what Boltzmann dealt with. Send him a message and tell him that Bloomer Spring is in danger or gone. Unless you want to teleport into that thing with the cocoons and try and like take
The
it
thing
out.
that you're
essence.
looking at currently, the
Yeah.
big, large
We sort of
black
have
metal.
we sort of have our own mission at the moment, but if we could go straight there, we have the means to go in there and try and stop it. But Weiss is probably the best one. He's got the ear of the officials.
Boy, is this a crossroads, ladies and gentlemen? Do we proceed and collect the artifacts and the ultimate threat, or do we stop and delay in order to save this town?
That's the town
That
is
may
a
or may
battle.
not be fucked.
The town is a battle, but getting the weapons might win us the war.
The weapons are what we have to do. That's what we made an oath on. That's what we need to go find.
Ooh.
Weiss can deal with this. Weiss can bring an army in, most likely.
In turn, we could also be damning Weiss.
He's a big boy. He can take care of himself. He's the one that got it
That's
out
his
of
problem.
Boltzmann.
That's his
Whoa.
problem. Whoa!
Holy
Boltzmann is
hang on.
being Boltzmann is being blunt. That's going to be his responsibility.
I agree with Boltzmann.
You
We-
can see that. You
we-
can see that there's cold sweat is dripping from Boltzmann's temple.
We've made
You
an,
can see that his hand is shaking on the orb. He does not like this, not one bit.
our path has been
As you
set.
do that, as you stand there, another, or maybe the same illithid creature walks back past you, looking at one of the other cocoons that you can see in your periphery, and you see him standing in front of it, throwing his hand upon it with arcane energy and moving it slightly, adjusting and then turning and returning to where he came from.
Brian, do it.
Bran looks visibly concerned over both Dante's and Boltzmann's suggestion. Clearly unsure if...
The bigger picture, Bran. Aura is floating in the sky at the moment.
Alright. I suppose if, unless you guys want me to do it now. Or
What?
after.
Boltzmann. What Boltzmann would want to do is, are we done here?
Yes.
What he's gonna do is he's going to zoom out. At this point, use it to zoom in onto Whiss's workshop. Hopefully, Tippy's still there at the front desk.
Okay. You go to Numer. You find Numer and you scroll in. You go to the small wooden cottage, almost, that is in the north side of town, and you're able to find Whiss's magic shop. You are able to scroll in from the top, and it does look like it is closed for the evening. But you also know that there is a spot, before you get too deep into the actual laboratory of Weiss, there's a spot that is Tippy's themselves, where it's kind of his own space, still within the confines of the magic shop. And you do see him there. He is reading a book. He's got his feet up, smoking a long pipe, actually. He No, this is the good part.
And remembering that door that they went through to get to the to Whis' study.
Yep.
Can he pass through it?
Yes, you can certainly try.
Okay.
You roll your scroll wheel away from the kind of cubby section of where Tippy is. You roll it forward towards the door, and as you pass through, you pass into rock.
Should have known. And Boltzmann, scrolls back into the main room. And well, I was hoping that Whis was here, but then
You remember the elaborate arcane
yeah,
kind
exactly.
of the way that was constructed. That it was most likely from your
like portal.
It's almost like a portal. It does not have to be where it is.
Yeah.
Always inform Tippy himself. Relay the message.
We could always just try sending Whis the message first, and if that doesn't work, we can send it in the morning to Tippy.
I think that would be best. And yeah, Boltzmann's now just looking at Bran, seeing if he's going to do it now.
Yeah, I think Bran will, considering there is no, or at least it's possible for the orb to view Tippy specifically, and Tippy is aware of how to access the mage portal. Bran will choose to relay the message instead to Tippy to bring to Tenenbaum, bring to Whis when he can.
Okay, so you're gonna send a message to Tippy.
Yes.
Okay, what are you saying?
Could Whis find us? Could we
It's
perhaps...
25 words.
If he could teleport to our position or somewhere we can meet him, could be better, and we can explain in greater detail than just the 25 words.
How can he?
I'm not a wizard, and he sort of glances back at Emmy.
How can he?
Emmy's not here yet.
Oh, is it she? Oh, well, glances back to the door where Emmy, off in the distance where Emmy is.
Good shame.
I think we expect too much of the wizard, but I'll certainly try.
What
So
do
that is
guys?
20. So that is 25 words. Tippy, inform Whis. Inform Whis. Bloomer Spring, possibly infested with illithid flagella. I don't know.
Eggs. I think the term that we used were eggs.
Yeah.
To tell Whis that Bloomer Spring is possibly infested with illithid
with
eggs.
That's 10, and then may or may not be what's the proper term, like past the point of no return.
Are you going to mention the boat, the craft out in the water?
That is, I'm counting. Hold on, I'm counting. Okay, that's 18. What would you call that? A hive? Hive in the water?
I think that's a
ship?
I mean,
It's on the water. Invisible ship.
were we able to identify?
It was
as
not.
players?
It was not on the water. It was over the water.
Over the
It was
water.
over the water.
Oh, it's over the water.
Ship
Okay.
over water, invisible.
Yeah.
over the wall.
Yeah, that's actually
Illithid,
22.
Illithid ship. There we
Yeah,
go.
Illithid ship over water.
Yeah, there you go.
And with my two remaining words, I'll add "be careful."
Nice.
I'll say that you write this down as a group and then go ahead and transmit it
Yeah.
after the fact. So we're clear on that. But after you do take the moment, you focus on your ring, you kind of hold it in your hand, closing your eyes and thinking about the uplifter. You are able to send that message. A moment passes. Well then, I'll let Master know. He's
Oh God.
out right now, but we'll be back soon. That's all you.
Did we see him answer? Like, were we still focused on him?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Oh.
we're still
yeah, you can
focused.
see him.
Wonderful. Damn it.
He responds in his head, but he also speaks it out loud. So, with the right setting of you looking at him, you'd be able to hear him as well.
Dante sort of
See him
mumbles.
flustered.
Dante
See him flustering, and you see him actually going over to his desk and getting a writing utensil and some paper, and starts writing down information. Oh my! Well, I guess I should. Okay, and then he kind of writes it all down and kind of rubs on his face a little bit. You definitely kind of freaked him out a little bit.
Poor Tippy.
Wish we could have told him we were
boy.
watching him.
Boltzmann, now let's go. Alright, that's one thing. And he now looks towards the others. Emmy, you're back. Oh, gods.
Oh, y'all
Did he
look
come
like
back
you've been
in
up to all sorts of things. Yes, and he came back. Redone, scarf back in place, smiling. What did
Wait.
I miss? Did y'all figure out how to get the stone going? I know it's a little tricky. It's a little tricky. Gotta make sure you manipulate it just right. Could be a little finicky.
It's actually not that hard.
Well,
Okay.
Boltzmann just
Gotta go
looks
and
at
chat
you.
away.
Real
Boltzmann's
tricky
now looking at Boltzmann's doing that Kubrick stare on Emmy.
Yeah, it's just Brad just kind of whispers. It's actually not that hard to manipulate.
Sure, you roll
Anyways,
a 25 now.
Yeah. The way she's
quick
rolling today.
question. As a player,
Mhm.
guys, have any of you checked King Ear's castle?
No.
By any chance?
I didn't bother because I felt like that would obviously the castle would be shielded from scrying. That's
Only
just
one way to find out, right?
no. I'm not gonna be alert tripping any more alarms today.
Yeah. Honestly, that's one thing that's been going through my mind too.
Boltzmann doesn't have to tell
I
us
don't
what
want
he's
to trip
doing.
anymore. Yeah, I don't have to trip any more alarms. We
Yeah.
already tripped
you're
over the Shadow Queens. I don't want to do any more. I don't want to piss off the Amen government.
If that sort of thing exists in the Underkeep, then I'm fairly certain they equipped the same to the castle. So, fuck. All right. Where is the? I think we should look for the farthest. Seeing how this is like instant. Oh, what is that? Instant transportation, whatever. God damn it, Dragon Ball.
We have to we have to visualize the
Lovely.
area first.
Yeah, so we can look at the map as we're scrying, and if we want to go there, that's when we activate the stone, and then that's where we go.
Did anyone else want to look at anything else?
No.
Silence. All right, that's a no.
Emmy's just
I'm good.
politely tucking her stuff back in, as she had planned to be sleeping in that room, and she's just politely tucking her stuff away, and while everyone's doing what they're doing.
We should find
Brand
the...
turns to Sirsha.
I think Sirsha originally was thinking about checking on a few things, including where her sister was, but after seeing everything with around Aura and then the moment with Emmy, her her mind has left. She's not thinking about checking on anything else now. She's kind of gotten into the mindset of, okay, things are progressing, we need to move.
We find the
Guess with
artifact
that,
location, and then we
one.
go.
Yeah, I guess Bran
Which
will
one?
unfurl the parchment that had the rough estimation of where the artifacts are. We'll splay it out somewhere for everyone to see.
Okay. You basically have a letter that was written that explains where the two remaining places that were listed. Two remaining relics are the Shroud of the Wild Bountress that can be found in the Temple of the Makers in Ujat, which is listed as southeast of the Sledideer Forest. And then the Reaper Quarterstaff can be found in a place called the Sanctuary in Patrium, which is listed as north of the Pisa.
So was there one? Did you say there's one in Ujat?
Yes.
Ujat, which is the southeast of Sledideer Forest.
I think we were thinking about going to that one because we sort of had ways in and out of Patrium. I think Emmy had suggested going straight to Patrium, so we didn't have to worry about both an exit and an entrance route. But I think most were decided on going to Ujat first.
I merely said Ujat first because that's the most out of the way, and there is
Right.
a desert in between us and where we are right now, and I don't want to risk, I guess, an encounter in the desert.
Well,
That
either
might
way.
take days.
Yeah, I mean, either way, we'll have to go. It's only just a matter of like whichever place we go, only one of them is going to have both an entrance and exit strategy. So which one do we think we can tackle better?
If we hit Ujat, we then can go by ship down to Ibiza.
Yeah, straight to Patreon.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that would be Dante's vote. Ujat and down to Ibiza.
Yeah. Bran's vote is also for Ujat.
Emmy's not arguing with the gentleman as they make their decision. She's just waiting to hear. And Boltzmann had to step away for a moment.
Come out.
Am, you know more about Ujat. Does this Temple of the Maker sound familiar?
Is it familiar to Camiel, Mr. Moose?
You can roll a history check, but
Got it.
as you do that, the screens light up around you. As Saoirse is now touching the orb.
I'm sorry, what was I rolling for?
You're rolling a history check to see if you know where the Temple of the...
Give me a 1, baby.
Saoirse?
Oh.
The orb?
She's just touching the
Yep.
orb.
Yeah,
She did it.
It's a 10.
She
1-1.
Saoirse, as they were all talking over the map, I would say her mind started to drift back to someone or to someone's that she was starting to think about, especially as she's thinking about her sister and the danger her sister might be in. She wants to check on her parents.
Okay.
So I don't know if you want me to make the sleight of hand or...
Yeah, go ahead and make a sleight of hand check, just so you can see how comfortable you are with it.
I think that's going to be the safer option instead of an intelligence or arcana check. 8.
Not great, but you're kind of fumbling around with it, and you kind of move around. You're quite jerky with the movements. You roll out of the place where you were out of. You do see kind of as you touch the orb, you see him pacing back and forth. Oh my, oh my. And then you kind of zoom out past. You're not too far from them there, and you kind of stay towards the roads. It is dark, it makes it hard to find everything kind of clearly, but you are able to kind of pass through and find your way over. You pass your way, kind of moving south into eventually Hummelstein. A very quiet town, seems to be quite still at this time of night. It's really like this crossroads town. There's not a whole lot of places there, but you do see a very small inn, a few small businesses that do try to make their living from travelers that pass through. The inn has a couple of torches that are outside that are staying lit. The inn has a porch-like structure with 2 tables, and at one of them is a familiar woman, older but very dignified, sword still on her hip. Anya to most, Ma to Saoirse. Her eyes are focused on a letter in front of her on the table, and as she stares at this letter, she stares at it for a while before breaking her gaze quickly, turning her head upwards, and you can see, full of emotion, tears welling up in her eyes. You spin the angle to try to read the paper that is in front of her. Roll a perception check.
Okay, hopefully this goes a little bit better.
Anybody in the room can read this.
10.
As in, we can do a perception check?
Yep, everybody can roll a perception that's in the room. Everybody
I was
sees
gonna
it.
say, can I help Saoirse control the orb better?
Yeah, I'll say that. I'll
She would
say,
accept the help.
yeah. Yeah, with your 13,
Ladies'
with
rolls.
Dante kind of helping and looking, you're all able to see this a little bit clearer. On the piece of paper, you see the words, Ma, this is the last time you will hear from me. After this evening's ritual, I will no longer be just your loving daughter. I've been given great powers so far, but my growth is limited by my human form. Before my ascension is complete, I want you to know that your daughter loved you. It was your still will that I admired as a little girl that bore me into the disciplines that I needed to face, the trials that have been brought to this verge of immortality. Please, and as you are reading, Anya quickly grabs the paper from the table and folds it before tucking it into her blouse. She stands up with new resolve on her face. She sighs and then opens the door of the inn and speaks to the young woman, now with a pleasant look on her face. Tuck, I need to check on a few things. I'll be back in a few weeks or so. A few weeks, but you'll be fine, Tuck. If you need anything, Aiden's at home. Bigger issues, Crown's Guard office is in Dolheim. And if Aiden checks on me, give him this. Tell him I'll be back soon, but not to follow. She goes to hand him the letter from her blouse, but stops, holds it in her hand for just a moment before looking deeply at it, and then slaps it down on the table. She turns, quickly starts out of the door, a stern look of determination on her face.
Saoirse's grip, if anybody was watching, the grip she had on the orb would have gradually tightened as she was reading the letter. Oh God.
You do follow your mother out of the inn.
Yeah.
You see her moving south.
And what did you get yourself into? I think, and then with that, Saoirse's just gonna let go of the orb, turn away, and kind of walk quietly toward the door going into the room. But she's not going to leave. She's just going to stare out the door. And everyone else would anyone who...
1 second, guys.
She's not hiding it. What?
1 second, sorry. My internet just went a little funny. Give 2 seconds. I think it's reloading back on the stream.
It looks like it's
loading
back.
back.
It's
Oh,
back?
yeah, I see.
There we go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's back for me.
You're back.
Alright, cool. Sorry.
Okay. Nope, no worries. I was just gonna say before all that, she's not hiding it. As she turns away, everyone would probably see the closest that you've seen to her showing sadness as a tear rolls down her cheek. She's thinking about what her sister's gotten herself into.
Sorry, Sosha.
Oh. I think I know the answer to where my sister is. She is in Aura. God,
It could be falsified documents. It doesn't have to be from her. It
looked like her handwriting.
But even so, then if we're planning on making our way there eventually anyway, we've got every opportunity to pick her up. Right?
If there's anything left of her to pick up. But we have more important things to worry about. And she would turn back and look at everyone, right, wiping at that point, just kind of rubbing her eye and clearing the tear from her eye. So, where to first? Ujat, was it?
I'm not so thrilled about going to Jet now.
With these artifacts could help. That's why we're
They
doing
will. Mm-hmm.
We have to win this war. We may lose some battles on the way, but we have to win this war.
Emmy goes back over to the stone. And she finds, using the map that they have, she finds that location. She's going to go to the location in Ujat to look at it, to have it up there for them to see.
We go and then we leave. That's all we need to do.
Would Camille be able to find that a little easier, or the temple?
So what was Camille's history
10.
check?
It was a 10.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, you
Or maybe not.
Yeah, you have never heard of you have never heard of the Temple of the Makers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which makes sense because she hasn't really left the forest, so she's not very educated in the land itself.
But you do know the Sledideer Forest, and you do know that that's the only reference outside of the temple that was given.
Mm-hmm.
You do know of some settlements, some primarily more civilized, more civilized than you were comfortable with at the time, but now are somewhat comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
So there are settlements on the southeast side of Sledideer.
Uh-huh.
No time like the present.
We just go in there, get what we need, and be on our merry way. It's that easy.
Easy is a relative term.
I just want to go in and go out.
Simple. Not
Exactly.
necessarily easy.
We can do it. Right?
Of course.
All right. Well, I'm ready.
And then Emmy takes her hand off of the stone again. And then she remembers, weren't we going to sleep on this a minute? I don't know, we're excited and there's been a lot going on, but she's looking around like, isn't it getting to bedtime?
I don't think it's really safe here anymore. Unfortunately.
Shadow Queen won't know where we are.
Right.
If we travel, we can camp.
Well, you can go anywhere you'd like. So if you wanted to find somewhere closer to town or make it safely in, you could do that. Like I said, who attuned to the stone? By the way.
I don't know if anyone
I do believe it was
did yet.
Boltzmann.
Oh yeah, Boltzmann had identified it. So Boltzmann, you most likely had
He is away.
yeah, so I'll say that Boltzmann did it. So yeah, where do you want to go to? You want to go in town? You want to stay outside of town? You want to be in the forest? You want to be?
I think Camiel would, as much as she hates it, she will suggest the deer forest.
Like the forest itself, not the towns
the f-
outside of it.
The forest itself, she does not trust the towns.
Does she say as much?
She will say it, yeah.
What's wrong with would ask, what's wrong with the towns?
Just trust me on this one. And besides,
Gotcha.
it's close. It's close. So I know the deer forest. It's a beautiful place, from what I can recall. And we can camp there, and it'll be lovely.
Dante will sort of read Camiel's unease and just be like, I think it's best if we get as close to the location as possible. And the fewer people that know we're here, the better. Well, there.
Thank you.
In an almost like uncharacteristic, like even without prompting from Dante, Emmy nods. Yeah, makes sense to me.
Right. Is everyone else ready? Because I'm very ready.
Boltzmann is standing or holding the Starcaster's stone. If you'd like, just show us where you'd like to go.
Does it have mosquitoes?
love me,
Not
Brandon.
did I recall. Mosquitoes.
Well, I'm ready.
Nothing will ever get past your thick skin, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, obviously packed up our camp and grabbed all our things. Dante has the Death Mercy blade strapped through his backpack still.
Emmy has Moontree in her belt right up front. No more getting in the way in the bag.
Ugh.
Dante's not paying attention to that.
Right.
No, I'm not looking.
Yeah,
We're on.
right where Moontree can watch Bran.
We're going on an
That was-
adventure.
There's
That
something we
was-
gotta do about Moontree. I'm not gonna.
That was such an in-character reaction. Ugh.
Ugh.
Yeah, I'd say that's also a brand reaction as well. Just.
So, Cam, as you move the orb, you go back to the same location that you saw previously.
Mhm.
The glade, the clearing, the large tree. You settle the orb close to the ground. Boltzmann gives a nod, holds the stone in his hands, and you see him muttering to himself as blue energy kind of surrounds his hands. The stone itself kind of lifts up off of his hands, begins to spin. And as it spins, you see arcane energy kind of swirl around it. This blue and purple and gold energy kind of swirl around it and then project only about 5 feet in front of you. A opening, a gate. Open, blue energy. But through the blue energy, you can see the darkness of the forest on the other side. You can see the tree and the glade. And you can see the base of the tree. And it is open. One by one, you kind of walk through this portal. Boltzmann being the last. And as soon as Boltzmann crosses the threshold, you see a flash of blue energy surrounding on both sides. Everyone on the tree side, no one left on the orb side, but you see a big flash of blue, gold energy. You are now in Ujat. And that is where we will pick up next time.
Oh.
Oh dear.
I was typing down. I didn't want to interrupt, but I did pick up Addie.
Okay,
Oh,
good.
I just want to make that
Addie is not left behind.
because I want to be
Leave
abundantly
Addie.
clear because I know somebody in the next session is going to be like, "Oh, but what about Addie?" Addie is
Did you
with
forget Addie? Oh my god.
me. No, Addie is with me. I just didn't want to
If I
interrupt.
could, I
Moose.
remembered Moontree. You couldn't think to remember Addie? Gosh.
Addie
No, I
is
just didn't want
now
to interrupt the DM.
owned by the Titan upstairs.
Oh,
No, it's
They are my
we do a
friends.
special
They are
one-shot
my
adventure.
Addie's
Addie.
a
Rescuing Addie.
Addie leads a crew of other wild animals.
forest
to
creatures. Yeah, the forest creatures all the way to Ujat.
Yeah.
Woodland Critter Christmas.
Yep.
Fun.
She collects a pixie, a half dragon.
Oh my god.
That'd be amazing.
All right.
I want to be the pixie.
Of course you do. Thank you to all of our followers and supporters this week and every week for being here and being part of the show. If you missed any part of this episode, the VOD is available immediately on Twitch, but they will not stay there forever. If you want to catch up on any of our previous episodes, kind of get some of the inside details that we kind of exposed today, get some of those old knowledge, you can take a look at our YouTube. The link is below, or search Black Dragon RP and look for the big Dragon Eye logo. Last thing before we go, I do want to take a moment, shout out our players. In the info box below, you will see some links. Go check these wonderful people out. Some of them have links to their Twitter accounts, like RPG Theologian Rob, who plays Saoirse, The Relentless Hunter, Aaron, who plays Branimir, Throwaway Doodles, Ellen, who plays Boltzmann, and some who stream here on Twitch, like Thumpernox, Ryan, who plays Dante, Yumi Cigar, Tony, who plays Camiel, and Brenna streams on the Bren Nailed It channel and plays Amivi. I'm Brad. I'm known as Monocle Moose on all platforms. Go check us out. Please go to the info box below and check out the links and say hi to us there. That wraps up this episode from us. So thank you very much for being here. We will see you again next week. Same time, same Twitch channel. We love you very much, and goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.